Imagine a small, forgotten glass dish, sitting quietly among the clutter of a busy laboratory. It's easy to overlook, just another piece of glassware gathering dust. On a cluttered London lab bench in 1928, surrounded by the chaos of experiments and the hum of scientific ambition, this dish waited unnoticed. It was meant to grow bacteria for research, but something unexpected happened. A speck of green-blue mold began to spread across its surface, quietly taking over. This wasn't ordinary mold. It created a clear, perfect ring where bacteria simply couldn't survive, as if drawing a protective barrier. Alexander Fleming, returning from a much-needed vacation, almost tossed the dish away, thinking it was just another failed experiment. But something made him pause. Curiosity, that spark at the heart of every discovery, made him look closer at the dish before discarding it. What he saw wasn't a simple mistake or a ruined experiment, it was a puzzle, a sign that something extraordinary was happening right before his eyes. That mold was silently waging war against the bacteria, creating a no-go zone where nothing harmful could grow. It was as if nature itself was offering a clue. Fleming's memories of World War I haunted him. He had seen countless soldiers suffer and die from infections that medicine couldn't cure. He knew deep down that the world desperately needed a way to fight back against these invisible killers. The stakes were unimaginably high. Instead of discarding the dish, Fleming decided to investigate further. He began to take careful notes, determined to understand what he was seeing. He soon realized the mold was producing something powerful, an invisible substance that could kill bacteria without harming human cells. He called it mold juice, a humble name for a discovery that would soon change the course of medicine and human history forever. Most people would have missed it, but Fleming's mind was always open to the unexpected, always searching for meaning in the unusual. This tiny accident, this overlooked speck of mold, became the birth of penicillin, the world's first true antibiotic. Science isn't always about perfect plans or flawless execution. Sometimes it's about noticing the strange, the out of place, and daring to ask why. That forgotten dish, a random gust of wind carrying mold spores, and a curious mind all came together to spark a revolution in medicine. Fleming's discovery would go on to save millions of lives, transforming hospitals and giving hope to the hopeless. The world was about to change in ways no one could have imagined as the dawn of a new era approached. A moment of untidiness, a bit of luck, and a scientist's curiosity became a moment of hope for all humanity. The mold secret was out, and soon the world would know its power. The battle against bacteria had a new champion, and the fight for life had a new weapon. All because one scientist stopped to look, to wonder, and to believe in the possibility of the extraordinary. The age of antibiotics was about to begin, forever altering the fate of countless lives. And it all started with a single, unremarkable speck of mold, an unlikely hero in the story of hope. Before penicillin, even a small cut could be deadly. Infections like sepsis, pneumonia, and meningitis were often fatal. A sore throat or earache could spiral into life-threatening illness. Childbirth and surgery were incredibly risky due to infection. Hospitals were filled with patients, doctors could barely help. Germs didn't care about wealth or status. Everyone was vulnerable. Even the US president's son died from a simple blister that became infected. People lived in constant fear of minor injuries. The discovery of penicillin wasn't just a new medicine, it was a superpower. For the first time, humanity could fight back against invisible killers. The world before antibiotics was a world of fear and uncertainty. Penicillin's arrival was a beacon of hope. It promised longer, safer lives for everyone. The smallest accidents no longer had to mean tragedy. The world was ready for change. Alexander Fleming, a Scottish scientist working at St. Mary's Hospital in London, was a man of curiosity and persistence. He was not your typical tidy researcher. In fact, his colleagues often joked about the state of his workspace. Fleming's laboratory was famously messy, with petri dishes, glassware, and papers scattered everywhere. But this untidiness would soon play a crucial role in scientific history. It was this very messiness that set the stage for his groundbreaking discovery, one that would change medicine forever. During World War I, Fleming witnessed countless soldiers suffering and dying from infected wounds. Despite the best efforts of doctors and nurses, he became obsessed with finding a magic bullet, a substance that could kill harmful bacteria without damaging human cells, something that could save lives on the battlefield and beyond. For years, Fleming searched for this elusive cure, often working late into the night. But his experiments brought little success and many frustrations. Then, by sheer luck, while sorting through old petri dishes he'd left out during a vacation, Fleming noticed something unusual: a dish with a patch of mold surrounded by a clear ring where bacteria had vanished. The bacteria near the mold had completely dissolved, as if the mold was producing something that killed them. Instead of throwing the dish away, Fleming's curiosity took over. He decided to investigate further, determined to understand what was happening. He carefully grew the mold in broth and began testing its effects on different types of bacteria, hoping to unlock its secrets. To his amazement, the mold juice killed many dangerous bacteria, including those responsible for deadly infections, but left animal cells unharmed. Fleming realized he had stumbled upon something extraordinary, a natural substance with the power to fight infection. Although he didn't yet know how to produce it in large quantities, he understood its incredible potential to revolutionize medicine. Fleming's sharp observation skills and willingness to investigate a simple mistake turned what could have been a forgotten accident into a medical miracle. At last, Fleming had found the magic bullet he'd been searching for, a discovery that would save countless lives. With this, the world's first true antibiotic, penicillin, was born, marking the dawn of a new era in medicine. Fleming needed help identifying the mold. Mycologist C.J. Latouche named it Penicillium notatum. Fleming called the active substance penicillin. It killed bacteria but was harmless to animal cells, a game-changer. He even used crude penicillin to treat a colleague's eye infection, but making pure penicillin was nearly impossible. The mold produced tiny, unstable amounts. Fleming wasn't a chemist, he couldn't extract or stabilize it. For nearly a decade, penicillin remained a laboratory curiosity. Fleming published his findings, but few noticed. He kept the mold alive, hoping someone else could unlock its potential. The world waited for a miracle drug. The secret was out, but the door remained locked. Fleming's discovery needed a new team to unlock its power. The mold he found could kill bacteria, but turning it into a life-saving medicine was a challenge far beyond one man's reach. At Oxford, Howard Florey and Ernst Chain revisited Fleming's work, determined to see if penicillin could become a real treatment for infections that were once a death sentence. They assembled a team, including Norman Heatley, whose ingenuity would prove vital. Together, they set out to purify penicillin, a task that required both creativity and relentless effort. Their lab was underfunded. They improvised with milk churns and bathtubs, turning everyday objects into scientific tools. Wartime shortages meant they had to be resourceful at every step. It took gallons of moldy broth to get a tiny amount of penicillin. Each drop was precious, and the process was painstakingly slow. In 1940, they tested it on mice infected with deadly bacteria, hoping for a sign that their efforts weren't in vain. 4 mice got penicillin, 4 didn't. The experiment was simple, but the stakes were enormous. The untreated mice died, the treated ones survived. It was a miracle. For the first time, a bacterial infection had been defeated by a drug. Next, they tried it on a human. Policeman Albert Alexander dying from infection. It was a desperate last hope attempt. Penicillin worked, but they ran out of the drug. The supply was heartbreakingly small and they could not make more in time. Despite desperate efforts, Alexander died. The team was devastated, but they knew they were on the verge of something extraordinary. The tragedy proved penicillin's power, and the need for mass production. The world needed more than a miracle. It needed a solution. The challenge was clear: make enough penicillin to save lives. Scaling up production would require new ideas, new partners, and relentless determination. The Oxford team had shown it worked. Their breakthrough was a beacon of hope in a world at war. Now, the world needed it. Hospitals overflowed with wounded soldiers and civilians desperate for a cure. Their breakthrough set the stage for a medical revolution. The promise of penicillin was about to change the course of medicine forever. Penicillin was ready to change history. But the journey from laboratory to lifesaver was just beginning. The only question: could they make enough? The world's hopes rested on their shoulders. The race to produce penicillin had begun. The world was watching. The miracle was real, and its impact would soon be felt everywhere. The Oxford team needed mass production, but Britain was at war. Florey and Heatley traveled to the US, carrying penicillium spores in their coats. American scientists and companies took up the challenge. A better mold strain was found on a cantaloupe in Illinois. New fermentation techniques cracked the production problem. In 1942, penicillin was scarce. By war's end, it was everywhere. Penicillin became a secret weapon, saving countless soldiers' lives. It changed military medicine and helped win the war. By 1945, penicillin was called the wonder drug. Fleming, Florey, and Chain won the Nobel Prize. The accidental discovery had become a global lifesaver. Hard work and ingenuity turned a lab mistake into history. The world would never be the same. Penicillin launched the antibiotic age. It proved microbes could fight microbes. Scientists worldwide began searching for new antibiotics. Selman Waxman discovered streptomycin, effective against tuberculosis. Soon, tetracycline, erythromycin, and others followed. Doctors gained an arsenal against deadly infections. Surgeries, transplants, and cancer treatments became possible. Life expectancy soared. Once feared diseases faded. Hospitals became places of healing, not just last hope. The Antibiotic Revolution reshaped society, all from a forgotten dish and a curious mind. Humanity gained control over disease. It was a public health triumph. Even in 1945, Fleming warned about antibiotic resistance. Using too little penicillin or stopping too soon, let tough bacteria survive. These survivors multiply, making the drug less effective. Bacteria evolve quickly, developing resistance. Overuse and misuse speed up the problem. New antibiotics are hard to find. Resistance is rising. We risk a post-antibiotic era where common infections are deadly again. Scientists are searching for new solutions. Phages, immune boosters, novel drugs. Everyone must use antibiotics responsibly. Take the full course, only when needed. Fleming's gift must be protected. The battle against bacteria continues. The story isn't over. The story of penicillin is a lesson in curiosity and chance. Great discoveries often come from accidents and open minds. Fleming wasn't searching for penicillin. He recognized its importance by being observant. What other breakthroughs are waiting in forgotten corners? The cure for cancer, solutions to pollution, or new energy sources might be hidden in unexpected places. Science needs curiosity and freedom to explore the unknown. The next penicillin could come from a humble lab and a happy accident. Remember Fleming's messy desk and the speck of mold. Science is full of accidental insights. Keep your eyes open and ask questions. The next world-changing discovery could be anywhere. Curiosity drives progress. The future belongs to those who notice the unexpected. If stories like this blow your mind too, go ahead and hit like and subscribe so you don't miss the next discovery that changed the world.